And we're live. I'm Lance Cap roasting with Anthony. This is the Pistons Talk podcast, and you need to explain to me what the Pistons drip is.
So you were thinking it was close.
I was.
It's not. It's not close. I want you to at least guess. You get 3 guesses. Think of something really stupid.
I'm gonna. Is it a yearbook of like what the Pistons were wearing throughout the season? Is that the Pistons drip?
No.
Okay. Is it something for you, like the individual, to like put on? Is it like a? Man, what am I thinking of? So it's no clothing, no articles of clothing. We're like no socks, no t-shirts, no nothing.
No.
Okay, it's none of that. Pistons drip. Give me. What can be stupid? Is it cooking utensils?
You're getting close. I'm going to show you.
No way. Wait, one more guess. One more guess. It's close to cooking utensils. Dude, is this like stirring straws that they give people or something like that?
Yeah, we're just going to show you, brother.
I'm way off on this.
This is probably the funniest thing I've ever seen. So Pistons drip, you guys, is water for $12 that you can buy by the Detroit Pistons.
I can't believe I didn't think of that, because like drip is used as, it's like a term for what you're wearing, right? Like you're all dripped out. God.
Oh man, like
it's water. It's literally water. Wow.
It's probably literally like the press release was a picture of Sadiq holding a water bottle and he's like this and it says Pistons drip on it. I was just like, funniest press release email I've ever gotten. Like, Pistons drip.
Is it the same water the players drink? Like, are they getting special water? Is this just out of the tap? Is it Nestle? Because if it's Nestle, I can't do it.
They say it's natural spring water, but it's probably like Dasani or something like that.
Oh my God, dude. They're really doing this. This isn't a joke. This isn't something you photoshopped at all.
No, you want me to send you the link?
Yeah, I mean,
it's on the, you can literally buy it on the Detroit Pistons website.
Oh my God, dude. I hope everybody listening does not do that. Please don't buy Pistons drip water bottles. They don't even look that cool. They don't look that cool.
I'll send you a link. I just sent you a link and you'll see it in the messages that I just sent you. But yeah, it's right on the Pistons 313 shop.
God, dude. God. Dude. Oh my. I don't even know what to say about that, because it's just a water bottle that says drip on it. Like, it's not even a cool collective water bottle. No. You know, it's nothing. It's just a regular water bottle. It says drip. And does it come with like a signature? Do I get like a Sadiq Bey or a Cade or even a Cory?
No, dude. It's literally water with the Pistons logo on it that says Pistons drip.
Is it a reused bottle? Did one of them drink out of it? Is that what I'm getting for $12?
No.
A gently used water bottle from Sadiq Bey. I think that's better than just buying a water bottle if it's gently used by one of the players. That's ridiculous, though.
Absolutely
ridiculous.
I thought we'd start off with some trivia, something funny that maybe a lot of Pistons fans didn't see it in the press release because it's not like Cade news or Jaden Ivey news, or is the trade for Jalen Duren official yet? Like shit like that. But like, that to me was the funniest press release. Like, if you guys get bored, type in Pistons strip and you'll see a picture of Sadiq Bey holding a water bottle. It's literally the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It's ridiculous, dude. So this got me thinking about Derrick Rose, and we were kind of talking about it a little bit. You had briefly mentioned it. I get home today, and one of the first things that pops up on like my Google search history, well, not even search history, like I go to type something in and it pulls up some NBA news, and it's of Tom Thibodeau saying that he prefers Quentin Grimes over RJ Barrett. And I started thinking, like, what would a backcourt of RJ Barrett and Cade Cunningham look like? Would it work? I have no idea. I didn't think about it too much. But then I started thinking about Derrick Rose, and dude, I don't know. I don't know about you, but I kind of miss him. And I think a Cade and Derrick Rose backcourt would be kind of interesting. But even besides that, how do you think Pistons fans will remember Derrick Rose in his time in Detroit?
I think the one memory, though, probably, it's still stuck in my mind, the Pelicans game where he won the game winner. I mean, he was a good veteran. No, like when he came on the team, obviously the goals of this team were a lot different. That they had playoff aspirations, and as you guys know, we had the injury bug. We had the injury bug really bad. I mean, seems like everyone that year got hurt. Derek got hurt. I mean, we're really thinking chemistry of Derek Rose and Luke Kennard were push us to that 8 seed if we were lucky. But I mean, this is my memory of Derrick Rose is like, this is a vet that a lot of fans were hyped for. I was hyped for him too, but I mean, it's not that memorable.
No, he only played 65 games.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was like close to 100 games for some reason with Derrick Rose. I don't know. It's really random to start a Pistons podcast talking about like an old player, but it's the opening conversation, so we got to get something in. But yeah, like Derrick Rose, I was just thinking about it in terms of like, dude, an explosive scoring guard. You compare him to Cade. There might not be a real need for Jaden Ivey. Maybe he's the sixth man. This team's fortunes might look different going forward. I don't know. But then it got me thinking like Derrick Rose's time. It was short-lived in Detroit. It was exciting. There were some brief moments. We got to see vintage Derrick Rose at times during his 65 games. And I felt like for a little while, he kind of gave Detroit Pistons fans a lot of hope of what was to come. And I kind of wish his time in Detroit was a little bit longer than 65 games. I wanted to see more of it play out. I wanted to see him like, remember when they were showing up like his per 36 numbers and they were close to his MVP numbers? I was kind of hoping we might get like a resurgent of Derrick Rose and we might, for a good portion of the season get like that former MVP self. That's what I was hoping for with Derrick Rose. And I mean, dude, it was a pipe dream because he was coming off a multitude of injuries and everything. And, he's pretty much a shell of his former self. But just there was a little bit of me that was holding on to Derrick Rose. And I don't know. I think he gets lost somewhere in the shuffle, though, of Pistons fans. Like, there were moments that were memorable, but it was only 65 games.
Yeah, I think if the Pistons didn't have a history of signing players, like, I don't want to say he was past his prime, but like you think of players like Chris Webber, or you think of players like Tracy McGrady, you think of players like Allen Iverson. It's just like, Derrick Rose to me, I think he's probably one of the most popular Detroit Pistons up there with Allen Iverson in terms of popularity among NBA fans. I used to have people that weren't even Pistons fans, just Derrick Rose fans, like, dude, I'm so happy D Rose is out of Minnesota. You guys will know how to use him. Happy for D Rose. Like, he just has such a following that, to me, like, that's the first time I've really seen that, like in the social media age, where you get people, like friends, family, cousins, like reaching out to you, even though like you're just like a media website, they're like appreciative of you covering someone that they grew up watching, who they've supported. And that's probably my favorite moment of like the Derrick Rose era of, just seeing him come to Detroit and like his family and friends being supportive of the Pistons actually giving him more than a vet's minimum. Because if you remember, we gave him $15 million over 2 years.
Yep.
Because he had that relationship with Arntellum.
No, he was – oh, man, what was I just going to say about Derrick Rose? Number one, he looked really good in the red, white, and blue. But also what you were saying about his fans. Like, yeah, we have like LeBron James stans, guys that are like overly obsessed with LeBron James, like everything he does they talk about. But there is like there is that real hardcore group of fans that just love Derrick Rose no matter what. He has such a strong and loyal fan base. It's kind of unique, really, for a player like him because – after his MVP season, he just kind of went downhill with the injuries and everything. And you don't really, you see a couple people still follow him, like holding out hope. But man, it also seems like with that group of fans that love Derrick Rose, he can do no wrong. And they praise him for everything that he does. Like every little thing, every bounce back he has, he is being praised by those fans. And yeah, I mean, I don't think we really see it in such a positive light with players like that, especially in the social media age.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's probably up there, like you said, with like LeBron. Like, people just love Derrick Rose, and I can understand it. Being a MVP at such a young age, like people didn't think he was going to win the MVP, and he proved them wrong. And I think when people look at Derrick Rose, they kind of look at him like Russell Westbrook in a standpoint of, people love to watch guards. It's a guards league, and when you have an explosive guard like that, like a Ja Morant, like people love Ja Morant right now, and he's getting the same love Derrick Rose did in his Chicago days.
I think people love small athletic guards because they're the athletes that are like closest to us, but they're still doing like superhero things. Like you look at Derrick Rose, you're like, we're kind of like the same height. You might only be like an inch or two taller than me, but you can jump like a foot or two higher than me. It's just unbelievable when you see a small guard doing it. But man, you're bringing up some old names, and I'm thinking about like, how good would a Pistons starting lineup of like over the hill veterans be? You have AI, Derrick Rose in the backcourt, Trace McGrady, Chris Webber, and probably Derek Coleman, maybe I would have to assume at the 5 spot for the Detroit Pistons of over the hill players.
I'm trying to think of a center that we signed that was just like old as mud. I can't think of one right now.
I got one on my mind, and he was a former multiple-time All-Star, multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year that they signed, and that was Ben Wallace. The second time through, he was a little over the hill. He might be the starter at that point. Who knows?
I was going to say, Elton Brand was never on the Pistons, was he?
No, I don't think so.
No, I didn't think so either. I think I'm thinking of the Clippers, maybe.
Dude, Elton Brand on the Clippers was amazing. 2010. Great player. Talking about a lot of random things, but next up, we got headlines, which is news, rumors, scorching hot takes from former NBA players if they drop any. We're going to discuss it if we have anything to say, and if we don't have anything to say, we're just going to move on. The Detroit Pistons released their schedule. Multiple sources from Omari to James Edwards, they dropped this, so I'm giving credit to them. The opener is against Orlando. That's going to be a fun matchup. You got Franz Wagner, Mo Wagner. You got the number 1 overall pick, Paolo Banchero. I think it's one of the first times where back-to-back number 1 picks meet on opening day as well. I don't know how many times it's happened in history, but we're getting Cade and Paolo real quick. That's going to be exciting. But yeah, which games are you marking on your calendar as can't miss games? These aren't games that you're going to attend, but just games where you're like, if I can attend the games, I'm going to go. But if I'm watching them on TV, these are the can't miss games no matter what.
Hold on. I know I told you before we went live, I actually had to make one for work. I actually have 10 on my list that I think that they're just not can't miss. Golden State on the 30th of October. And we get Golden State really soon on the schedule too. I think anytime you have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and the Warriors in town, it's going to be a fun game. I'm sure LCA is going to be absolutely packed. I'm sure it's just going to be a good game. I mean, I think the last time we played them, I think we split the season series with them, if memory serves correctly. We always do well against them. I don't know why. It just seems like they have a hard time playing against the Pistons. But I do like watching Golden State. I'll do one more because I don't want to go off the top 10 list. OKC, November 7th.
That's an interesting one. Why OKC?
I like SGA. I want to see what the hype is with Chet Holmgren. They have a lot of young players on their roster that I think the timelines of the Pistons and OKC are very similar. And I feel like if you're looking at young cores in the NBA, I mean, they're right up there with, Detroit and Houston and Orlando of teams that possibly have next, when Giannis gets old, when KD gets old, when LeBron retires. I feel like those are going to be the 4 teams that you hear about the most, whether it's in the Western Conference Finals or the Eastern Conference Finals.
Ooh, I like that, though. I do. I'm interested in Oklahoma City. I would go to – I just hope it's not like it's a game like they played last year where you're getting all these G League guys instead of like your Josh Giddeys, your SGAs. That's the only thing I'd be concerned about. But if I'm getting a full roster – from the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'm getting Chet, I'm getting Lou Dort, I'm getting SGA, I'm getting Josh Giddey. Dude, I'm getting a little giddy for that game myself. I might go to that game. I'm definitely going to – we talk about, like, what games can't miss. I think you and we're probably going to try to watch all 82 if it's possible for us. So
I definitely will. I'm a sicko.
I think I've only missed, 15 games the past 2 years maybe. So, yeah, I'm right up there with you, man. But one of the games I'm looking forward to, and it doesn't matter which game it is, but it's against the Dallas Mavericks. I love that Luka Doncic Cade matchup. I was there last year when they played the last home game of the regular season. It was just incredible because you kind of saw a glimpse into the NBA's future. You know what I'm saying? You got Luka. He's obviously already an MVP candidate. He's one of the more popular players in the NBA. He's I believe he's probably going to be the face of the NBA in a few short years. Yeah. But then you have Cade Cunningham, who came in, who was kind of like kind of like Luka in a way, and he lived up to the billing in that matchup. He did not back down. He frustrated Luka. They clapped at the end. They hugged at the end of it. It was just a great matchup, and I think it's just it goes to show us that you were talking about, Oklahoma City potentially being in the Western Conference Finals. You got Dallas, and then you got Detroit. Maybe they meet in the NBA Finals for one of those types of matchups. That's what I'm envisioning. That's what I'm hoping, and I really do hope we get that in the future as those two matching up. So Dallas, anytime they come to Detroit, that's a game that I have to watch. Like, I have to watch it at least, just because of that matchup.
For sure. Then you got Christian Wood too. I mean, I think some people are forgetting that he's in Dallas now. Like, Dallas has had such I'll just say a shit roster outside of Luka Doncic. I mean, it's been nothing but role players. I think Christian Wood in Dallas is going to be a lot of fun. Give him a consistent lob threat and a guy that I think Luka's going to love playing with. And they don't have Jalen Brunson anymore, which is just comical to me.
I think the Christian Wood and Luka Doncic, since we're kind of talking about it, I don't know if I don't know if it lasts that long. I feel like there's a reason Christian Wood, he's bounced around a lot. Super talented player. I just think his attitude and demeanor get in the way of him being real successful in the NBA. And I think that stuff is going to creep in when he's in Dallas, because I think he's very much one of those guys that's like, just give me the ball and let me do it. Like, let this be my team. That kind of seems to be his attitude when he's at places. But I don't know him personally, so I really can't speak on it too much. That's just what the vibe I get from it.
I know a lot of people YouTube chat thread, if you are watching on the YouTube chat thread, have a lot of good games. I've seen people want to see Jaden Ivey versus John Morant. That'll be a good one. Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham.
That's another good one.
That's a good one. I told you earlier, Toronto to me, if they lift the restrictions in Canada and they let those fucking Raptors fans come to LCA, I'm telling you, man, there's going to be a fist fight. They are so loud, so freaking obnoxious, man. Like, we the North, like, shut the fuck up. Like, honestly, bro, like, I encourage any Piston fan, if you want to go to a game where you say, you know what, I'm just getting in a fight today, I don't care. Go to a Raptors Pistons game at LCA, because those Canadian fans, they want all the smoke. They want to get in fights. They want to talk shit about their team. They want to talk how they won a championship, and they don't even acknowledge Kawhi Leonard. Definitely go to a Pistons Raptors game. You will not be disappointed.
I'll have to make one. That was on my list last year because I wanted to see all 5 draft picks. Like, I wanted to see the other 4 go against Cade in a game. And, I went to the Houston game. I got to go to I didn't get to make it to the Cleveland game because of the weather. I saw Jalen Suggs, but I didn't get to see Scotty Barnes because the games fell on individual days. But there is something about the Raptors. Like, I do want to go to one of those games just because ever since the Pistons have signed Dwayne Casey, they've been pretty good against Toronto. So yeah. I definitely want to see those Canadians, hang their heads low when they're leaving LCA. But what about like Trae Young and Killian Hayes? Does anybody want to see that matchup this upcoming season? Because that was pretty fun. What? Why not? Why not?
I don't know. It's just like Atlanta to me is like, they're boring.
Really? Like, I love Trae Young, man.
Like, Trae Young's exciting, but like, if you take Trae Young out of a game, it's a boring ass game. And the Pistons seem to do that almost every time. Yeah, he'll still get his like 25 to 30, but it's just like, outside of that, like, who's their number 2? DeJounte Murray? Like,
yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I feel like that, like, if you look at the schedule, like, I want to see what Isaiah Stewart and LeBron do again.
Yes, absolutely. Like, that was another one that's on my list. Like, I don't think it's going to be that exciting of a game, but there's going to be that tension, that drama. There's probably going to be some media members kind of hyping it up from last season. But by the way, I like though you took a little shot at Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks, though. Like, he never shows up, even though Killian Hayes locking him down. I don't know if you meant to take a shot at the Atlanta Hawks by, saying that, but it seemed like it was a shot to me. But yeah, the Lakers game, that's going to be a fun one. I don't know. You got any more games that you're like just really interested in watching that, maybe there's a storyline that's connected to it or anything?
I honestly think the one game I'm looking at right now on the schedule, which I was kind of surprised, that not more people would be hyped for it. I kind of want to see Minnesota. You know, you got Anthony Edwards, aka Kermit. I don't know if you guys watched the
Great movie.
Whatever the fuck his name was, I love that movie.
I think it's so Kermit Washington, right? Isn't that what his name is?
Something like that, yeah. I don't know. I like watching Anthony Edwards. To me, he's just like one of those basketball players that talks shit and gets buckets, and I love players like that.
Who's a player that they're going to be playing this season that you would like? If say it's Anthony Edwards, say he goes for like 50 points against the Detroit Pistons, are you going to be like disappointed, or are you just going to be like kind of excited because it's one of those players you like watching?
If it's a competitive 50 and like we lose by like 2, sure. But I mean, if he's got 50 and we're down 20, I'm turning that shit off. I mean, there's levels to this shit, man. Like, I don't want to watch my team get blown out by 30 and he's talking shit on the sidelines. Like that, as a fan, that is so demoralizing. But I mean, if it's competitive, if it's like less than a 10-point game, yeah, I'm entertained. Like, as a fan, I love games like that.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't ever I'm never rooting for like a blowout or anything like that. But there are certain players where like when they go off, when I get to watch it, I'm like, oh dude, that's like I'm kind of excited that even though the Pistons, even though they lost, like this was still an entertaining game. I got to see a great individual performance.
Yeah.
Here. I mean, I hardly ever am like pissed off at another player or like say I hate another player, but man, like I got, like if Trae Young goes off, I'm not going to be mad. If Anthony Edwards goes off, I'm not going to be mad. Luka, none. I'm not going to be mad about any of those guys. Like, I don't know. It's just something. Like, I guess if it's a blowout, I'll be disappointed. It'll be demoralizing. But let me hear some other names, though. Like, what other individuals are you looking forward to that are going to be playing? Maybe it's not like a can't-miss game for you, but it might be a can't-miss player that you might be able to see live at a game or just on TV.
Every time I go to watch this team, it's always a good game. I really want to see Darius Garland and obviously Evan Mobley, the Cavs. Every time the Pistons play the Cavs, it's really good. I remember I went to a preseason game. The dude was a freaking preseason game. This thing was like double overtime, and I think it was Christian Wood's like debut, and him and Bruce Brown were just going bananas, and Bruce hit a 3 to win the game. It was just like every time we play the Cavs, and every time I go to a game we play the Cavs, it's always a good game. So maybe it's just because every time I go to watch, Pistons Cavs, it's a good game. But I mean, like, what about you? Is there like a certain player you look at and you're like, dude, I gotta go to this game. I gotta watch them. Like outside of Luka, outside of Steph Curry, like who's a player that you look at, you're like, they're really up and coming, and I want to see what they're all about.
Like I was going to throw Zion Williamson's name on there because I think he is one of those players that if you get an opportunity to go watch him, you should, if he's playing. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just a weird kind of like freak athlete. Another guy that I'd be really interested in watching playing, De'Aaron Fox is another one of these guys just because, I don't really see a lot of Sacramento Kings games and it's almost like a myth to how good he is. So I'd love to see him live. Dante Murray, for some reason, he's on that list as well. Like, I just love his game, and I would love to see him live as well. Dude, Mo Bamba, I don't know why, like when I went to the Orlando game last year, he's just one of those guys, one of those individuals that just truly stands out because he's so long. Like, he almost looks like an alien from a different planet. It's unbelievable. So, like, yeah, I have a weird list of players. Like, they're not all of them are all-stars. Not all of them will be all-stars, but like Mo Bamba, I want to see Kyle Anderson play live. I don't know why, but like there's just something about his game where I'm like mesmerized watching this dude play basketball.
Because he's slow as fuck. That's why.
Exactly. Like it's just I don't know how he's successful in the NBA because he's not overly athletic. And I'm like, dude, it's a sport just full of athletes, and this dude is somehow gonna play 10 plus years in the NBA. Like, I love it. Dude, another guy that I really enjoy, like Mitchell Robinson, he's another guy. Like anybody that can just jump up super high and go catch a ball, I want to see it. Like, just give me something that is like superhuman. Like that is what I look for in like random individual basketball players. Like when I go to pick games, I'm looking down here. I'm like, okay, what team has like the freakiest athlete that I can watch? And like, is he going to do something that's just going to blow my mind?
Yeah, I remember. Again, Pistons are playing the Cavs. This is actually a kind of a cool story. So I buy the tickets because they're insanely cheap. You know, obviously like Lakers tickets are like $200 for like, you know, a lower bowl. So they're selling these Cavs tickets for like $5, right?
Jeez.
And this was the year Kobe Bryant passed. This was the week of Kobe Bryant's passing. The Pistons decided to jack up the tickets like by 100%. And I got this super nice like lower bowl seat for like under like $10. And like, bro, people are like, yeah, I paid like $80 for this ticket. I'm like laughing. I was just like, bro. But I mean, what they did for, you know, Kobe Bryant after his passing, like every team did a tribute. Like they had one with John Mason introducing him. I don't know if you remember that when he came to the Palace. John Mason did a really good introduction for Kobe. That to me was really memorable to actually witness that, of, you know, just seeing like how influential he was to the game and how many players loved Kobe. Like they even had like a sneaker cam during like the intermissions. Who this one kid got like $1,000 because he had the best Kobe's on during the Pistons game. It was just such a cool experience. I'm so glad I bought those tickets. I'm so glad I went to that game because I'll never forget it.
Yeah, John Mason has some pretty cool stories about Kobe Bryant too.
Mm-hmm.
I got to talk to him. I don't remember off the top of my head like how him and Kobe, like how they interacted, but John Mason, he definitely has some great stories about Kobe Bryant. And you know, it's man, dude, now you got me thinking about Kobe. Like,
yeah,
and thinking of his 81 games against the Toronto Raptors. But on top of the Pistons releasing the jersey, like the releasing their regular season schedule, they actually released their what games they'll be wearing teal for. Are you going to go out of your way to watch any of these games live? Like, go to the games to see them in teal, or is this not really that big of a deal to you?
No, I'm not that deep into teal game like some other people. You know, I mean, there's some people on Twitter. Shout out to Teal Crusader, by the way. He that guy deserves a fucking medal, man. Like he has been on the teal for like 3 years on Twitter. Anytime there's teal, he's talking about it or retweeting it. Like I gotta give him a shout out because he's so dedicated. Like I said, I'm not really that deep into the teal game. Definitely watch it on TV. I think it's going to be really cool to see how they redesign the court with the jerseys. I wonder if they're going to go back to like how they did in the 90s. I don't know if you remember how they changed the court with the teal jerseys. I don't know if they're going to do a redesign of the court or it's just going to be the same old stuff they did 20 years ago.
Yeah, they're only doing 11 games this year with the teal. I might try to go to like one or two of them. I don't know why. I just want to see the teal live. I want to say that I actually got to go to a teal Pistons game because I think this is the only year they're going to wear these alternate jerseys. I believe that's kind of like what the thought process is. Maybe they bring some other alternate teal jerseys. Maybe they bring the burgundy ones out next year. Who knows? But I will try to make it to some teal games. What do you think is more fan obsessed? Going to teal games or trying to go to all the bobblehead nights and getting bobbleheads?
It's got to be the bobblehead night. Because I feel like the bobblehead night, there's a couple factors that like a lot of like, cause I have a Blake Griffin bobblehead, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't think I was going to get one because the Pistons didn't really announce it, right? It wasn't announced at all. I was just like, lady's like, here you go, complimentary. And it's like a Blake Griffin bobblehead. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Because you have to get there early too. Like if you don't get there early, only like 5,000 or 10,000 fans actually get a bobblehead jersey, a bobblehead. That'd be cool if you got a jersey and a bobblehead, by the way.
I would like a bobblehead jersey. You put it on, it's just a bobblehead on top that your head goes into. But you get to wear a regular jersey. No, I prefer bobblehead night. Like that is my fan obsessed thing. Where like I look on the schedule, I have the app, and it shows you like what special nights you can go and get stuff. So like I don't always plan my games around there, but yeah, I got a Joe Dumars bobblehead. That was pretty cool. Like I would like to collect a few more. And that's like the weirdness of the fan in me, where I'm actually scheduling my time around like special nights from the Detroit Pistons. And I
Yeah.
don't know what's more of like a super fan, going to all the teal games or like going to all the nights to collect all the bobbleheads.
I feel like it's got to be the bobbleheads because, like, yeah, you get to watch the teal, but if you go to a bobblehead night, there's something that you actually have and you can remember it. So I think that's more memorable. I think if you're really that deep into teal, you'll splurge for the 135 and get that teal jersey when it does drop. But I mean, it's making me think, and this is going to show my age. Do you remember when Arby's used to do the promotions for bobbleheads?
Yes, I do remember this. Yeah.
Because I was just thinking, I remember when they did it for the Red Wings when they won the cup. They did it for the Pistons when they won the championship. Because like I was scrolling on eBay and this guy had like a full set of like all the Pistons. He had like Ben, Chauncey, Rip. Guy wanted like $400 for the whole set.
That's too much. That is way too much.
Yeah.
Did you bid on it?
No.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
Oh, no. I think it's cool though. I think we need to bring that back though. Have like a fast food place like do that again because like sometimes fans can't make it to the games and like yeah, I'll spend $10 on a bobblehead. Like I don't give a shit.
Or you're a fan like me who makes it to the game. You see a stack of bobbleheads. You go up and you ask, "Hey man, can I get one of those bobbleheads?" This is only for people that bought 10-game ticket packages. I bought a 7. Yeah, that was a thing. That was a thing. Yeah, they wanted you to sign up for a 10-game ticket package to get a bobblehead, like they're at the game. And it was the last home game of the season. And he had a stack of Joe Dumars bobbleheads. I'm like, dude, are you freaking kidding me, man? And then at the end of the game, the dude is packing all of them up. I mean, I already had one in my hand at that time because a really sweet old lady sitting next to me decided to give me hers because her husband already had one. So that was really cool. But yeah, this dude just had a stack of them. It's ridiculous, dude. I bought a ticket package already, and I didn't get anything other than the tickets. It felt like a slap in the face.
Since we're talking about salesmen at LCA, I'm going to share this story. I haven't told anyone this. I think maybe only 3 people know this. So, you know, when you're walking around the concessions and you have the people out there, they're like, oh, come spin this wheel, right?
Yeah.
So I spin this wheel and I won a free cruise. So I thought, right? So yeah. I buy it. I get the email. You know what this dumb motherfucker does? I got an email to Six Flags in Georgia. He told me I was going on a cruise ship in Florida. I was like, you got to be shit. No, I called my credit card company right away. I was like, this guy's a scam artist. Like,
wow.
I got all my money back. I was like, dude, are you shitting me right now? Like, beware. If you go to LCA and you see some dumb fuck with the wheel saying, hey, win Pistons tickets, go on a cruise. You ain't getting no cruise. You're getting scammed for $200.
Wow. I can't believe that. That's kind of nuts, man.
Yeah.
That's wow. Did you you didn't want to go to Six Flags though?
Not in Georgia. Why would I want to go to Six Flags?
I have no idea.
I'm not slandering Six Flags, but don't tell me like I want a cruise and then you send me an email for some like freaking, it looks like you like copy and pasted like some, I don't know, frequent flyer miles bullshit in my email address.
I can't.
I got scammed.
I would just love to see you just spin that wheel, walk up and just spin it, and then just walk away all nonchalant winning a cruise. Gosh, dude. I told you this before we started doing the podcast. You're a lucky individual, man. You live a blessed life for sure.
Oh, trust me. That is something that every time I see a ticket rep in my email box, I get like PTSD.
Dude, I got a few of them in my email right now.
Yeah.
So the Detroit Pistons will play only one nationally televised game against the Philadelphia 76ers. Honestly, I'm not really – I mean, I'm going to watch the game because, like, let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the Pistons. But, dude, they couldn't have given us a better game. We really had to play against the Philadelphia 76ers. There's not even, like, a real history between these two teams. Give me Cade and Jalen Green on a nationally televised game, even if it's on at 10:30 at night. Give me one of the young guys he came in the class, came in the NBA with. Give me Paolo Banchero versus Cade on nationally televised. The two most recent number 1 overall picks. Give me something like that. But Joel Embiid in the Philadelphia 76ers against the Detroit Pistons on a nationally televised game, it's going to be boring. Who wants to watch that? I don't get it. It's disrespectful.
So are you more mad at the game that they gave us, or are you more mad at it's only one game?
Oh, I didn't expect the Pistons to get. I'm surprised they even got one nationally televised game, to be honest with you. I mean, if I'm looking at it, if I'm the NBA and I know LeBron James, Chris Paul, and some of the stars that people have been watching for over a decade now are, they're coming close to retiring. I am trying to build up the next wave of players. So I'm trying to get young guys, even if they're on bad teams, I'm trying to get them as much national media exposure as I possibly can. I'm not saying give the Pistons 30 nationally televised games. Don't even give them 10, but give them like 3 to 5 and give them against some other young players that you're gonna market around. Like, let me see Anthony Edwards and Cade go at it on nationally televised games, because this is the future of the NBA. You want to start building up their brand and marketing these guys.
Yeah, the way the NBA looks at it is strictly dollar signs and advertisement, and I think they look at the Pistons and some other teams, and like Golden State, for example. Golden State, I think, has half of their games nationally televised this year, and rightfully so. They're in a huge market. They're one of the biggest sports teams in the world. I think they're valued at $5 billion. So I get why ESPN would do that, because they're going to make a lot of money. They're not going to make anything with the Detroit Pistons, but, they have to because of the CBA. Each team has to get a nationally televised game. Now, that can go up. We've seen that before. I think there was one year we didn't have any games, but by the end of the year, we had 4 because we started winning games. The more you win, you force these TV networks to put you on, because now you have storylines. Now you have ESPN interested, because I doubt ESPN's going to do a full 5-page story about Charlie Moore. They're just not. What I mean?
True.
It's nothing against Charlie Moore either. I think once the Pistons start winning, national media will come on the bandwagon. They'll get on the wave, and I wouldn't surprise me next year if the Pistons have at least 5 nationally televised games to start the season.
No, and I get why they do it, because, again, the Detroit Pistons aren't popular. But if you just go on, just say Twitter, I'm saying Twitter's not it. It's not going to give you everything, but you're going to see a real, you're going to see Houston Rockets fans and Detroit Pistons fans going at it. And if you're someone in marketing, you're like, oh, dude, I could play into this. You could build something around this little rivalry that I'm finding on social media. This could be a big thing. Those fans are going to tune into it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. Again, I'm not disappointed that they only got one game. I just wish the NBA would do a better job. I get that it's about money. It is a business at the end of the day. But if you're trying to build up the brand for the next wave of players, start marketing them, start putting them on nationally televised games. And maybe I am a little disappointed that it's the Philadelphia 76ers, though, too, because I don't know. I don't think there's a real history between these two teams. I don't care about this game, especially for it being the nationally televised game. I just don't care about it like I would another team.
Yeah, it's funny because you said rivalry. Now, did you see what the NBA is doing this year with their scheduling?
No, I did not.
Okay, so I'm surprised you didn't catch this. So the NBA this year has something called a rivalry schedule, where it's going to be in January, and it's going to be against teams that have past history. Now, I was really surprised that Detroit didn't get on this list, because I feel like they have past history with the Celtics. They have past history with the Bulls. They have past history with the Lakers, past history with Indiana. I was really surprised. But I think it's a really cool idea by the NBA to have rivalry week in January. I believe Legion Hoops posted it. It came from Vinny Goodwill. He had the story with it. But that's something that I think is really cool that the NBA is doing.
Man, yeah, but so we didn't get any rivalry games. So I'm seeing Chicago in January. I'm seeing Houston. They're January 28th. That's not a real historic rivalry between the two, at least to my knowledge. But it's one of those where they could be a rival, it's Jalen Green versus Cade. So I didn't know that they were doing that. That's actually really cool. Portland's on there, Golden State's in there again, but again, they don't really have history. the San Antonio game on January 6th. See, now that I see that and I'm hearing about the rivalry, dude, you could have had a build up like from the, when they met in the NBA finals and went at it. Like
Mm-hmm.
that would have been great. That would have been a great nationally televised game. I mean, again, a lot of people aren't going to tune in just for Detroit and San Antonio, but that matchup means something to Detroit Pistons fans and probably San Antonio Spurs fans because that was a fun finals. It was a great finals, even though it didn't, the outcome wasn't what we wanted. It was still great, and yeah, I don't know. I think the NBA really missed the beat, really missed it with putting the Philadelphia 76ers in on the nationally televised game.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a really cool thing by the NBA to have rivalry. Can't say rivalry. There we go. But I was surprised the Pistons weren't in there. I mean, you have a franchise that's won 3 championships, and you kind of have franchises in there that aren't NBA champions. I don't get it.
Yeah, that's like what I'm saying. Like you're right. Like you have the one against San Antonio, you have the one against Portland. Where Vinny Johnson went off.
Yeah.
What was it like I forget how many points he scored, but he cleaned them up, man. Like that again. The NBA really missed it. I just feel like the NBA as a whole just fucking hates Detroit, man. Gosh, dude.
I think we're still getting punished for Malice at the Palace, honestly.
God, dude, that sucks, dude. That sucks. Now I'm getting heated. My blood is boiling, Anthony. God damn, dude.
I'm shocked you missed that. Usually you're pretty up to date with stuff like that. I was just like, oh, dude, he's definitely going to be sending this in his prep. But I was like, wow,
no, I didn't know that they were doing. I missed the whole rivalry thing. That's crazy to me, man.
Yeah.
All right, so I was thinking about this because Joe Dumars apparently completed the Rasheed Wallace trade via text message, I guess. So what's the greatest trade in Detroit Pistons history? Is it the trade of Grant Hill for Ben Wallace or a bunch of, non-stars for Rasheed Wallace? Like, what do you think is the greatest trade between those two?
Oh, between Rasheed and the Ben Wallace trade?
I mean, do you think there's another trade that you could throw up there that's greater than those two?
I mean, I feel like a lot of Joe Dumars trades were actually really risky. Like the Stackhouse trade was risky, but I wouldn't put it up there with like the greatest trade. I feel like if just over the past, 15, 20 years, Rasheed would be up there because I think a lot of people forget when we traded Grant Hill was a 3rd overall pick and a star in this league. We traded for 2 role players in Ben Wallace and Chucky Atkins. Yep. People were pissed off when we traded Grant Hill to Orlando for Ben Wallace and Chucky Atkins. A lot of people like, who the hell is this guy? Oh, he sucks. What the hell are we doing? What's Joe Dumars doing? Like, people were heated. But, it worked out. But it's definitely got to be Sheed. I'm sure there's a trade, during the Bad Boys era that probably was good, but I wasn't around for that. So I was
just going to say the Adrian Danley for
I was going to say, yeah, that's the one I thought of. But it's just like, I wasn't around for that. So I feel like I can't really speak on it.
I don't know. I mean, like between these two, I just feel like the Grant Hill trade, even though at the time when it happened, people were frowned upon it, but what it brought to the Detroit Pistons, that's what makes it the greatest trade. Like, I think that's why it makes it, but I don't know. I mean, why do you think the Rasheed Wallace is the greatest trade, though? Like, why is that your answer between these two?
To me, I think the Pistons, obviously they were getting better each year. They signed Chauncey. They trade for Richard Hamilton. And Sheed was just that missing piece to really get them over the hump. And I feel like it really cemented that 2004 championship. And that's why, to me, it's more significant than the Grant Hill trade. Obviously, Ben Wallace was a key piece to that team. But I don't think if you don't trade for Rasheed Wallace, the Pistons don't win a championship in 2004. I just don't think they do.
Yeah, but if you don't trade Grant Hill, they don't win a championship in 2004. Right? Like, I mean, there's no way Grant Hill leads a team with Chauncey and potentially Rip to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, but Grant was on his way out, though. He wasn't going to re-sign with the Pistons, and that's why they traded him. That's a big reason. He wasn't happy with the franchise. He thought, their team doctors didn't really address his ankle injury seriously, and they didn't. I don't know if you read his latest book. but he goes into detail about his ankle injury and how he was just mistreated and all the pain and all the surgeries that he had to have on that ankle. So, I mean, to me, it's got to be Sheed for sure.
So listen to this trade, though. This is the Detroit Pistons 3-team trade for Rasheed Wallace. The Detroit Pistons traded Chuck Atkins, Lindsey Hunter, and an 04 first-round pick to the Boston Celtics. They drafted Tony Allen. Then the Detroit Pistons traded Zeljko Rebraca, Bob Shura, and a 2004 first-round pick to the Atlanta Hawks. Guess who the Atlanta Hawks drafted with that first-round pick?
Josh Smitty.
Josh Smith, yes. Is that – I don't know why that's that's just a little piece of history that's surprising to me about that trade.
Yeah, people in the chat knew exactly who it was, so I got to give them for that knowledge. But I did know that, though, because, like I said, I'm a sicko.
Yeah, I can't believe I did not know that. I didn't even know first-round picks were exchanged in that trade. But, I mean, for me personally, I think the Grant Hill for Ben Wallace is the greatest trade in Pistons history. Like, I think it surpasses Adrian Dantley for Mark Aguirre. I think the Rasheed Wallace trade, even though that trade gives me goosebumps because still to this day, I don't think it happened. Without Grant Hill being traded, I understand he was on his way out. But without that trade, you don't have that 04 championship.
Yeah, I mean, there's some underrated trades in the YouTube chat right now. This is a trade I remember because I remember this trade because I was at the grocery store and the Pistons weren't making any moves during the Van Gundy era. And it was a second-round pick for Marcus Morris, Reggie Bullock, and Danny Granger.
Damn.
From Phoenix. Because if you remember, Phoenix that year was going all in on LaMarcus Aldridge, because he was still in Portland at the time. And he ended up signing with San Antonio. So Phoenix was trying to create cap space. And Van Gundy gave him a second-round pick, and we got 2 role players out of it.
Wow, that might be up there for one of the best trades ever in the Detroit Pistons history. Really just a second-round pick for all 3 of those guys.
Yeah. Well, Danny Granger was done.
Yeah, he was done by that time, yeah.
But still, you got Reggie Bullock, who was an up-and-coming, 3-and-D guy. Marcus Morris, who just absolutely blossomed here in Detroit for a second-round pick.
Wow. Man, it's just crazy that we didn't do more, though, with this trade. Wow, What are some of the other trades in the chat? I'm curious because, I wish I would have done a little bit more research on these Pistons trades.
I did see the Tobias Harris trade, which I thought, on paper, a pretty good trade. I mean, you trade Ersan Ilyasova and Brandon Jennings for Tobias, which, if you ask any Pistons fan, I mean, Ersan Ilyasova was a role player. Brandon Jennings was a good player, but they were going to move on because they had Reggie Jackson, and you get Tobias. So, I mean, that was a pretty good trade.
Yeah, that's a solid trade, too. I did like Ersan, though, here in Detroit. I was kind of a fan of him. How did you feel about that Brandon Knight trade for Brandon Jennings when it happened? Were you disappointed like I was?
I wasn't disappointed. I was just confused because I felt like, the 04 team obviously was gone. Joe Dumars was going through building a team all over again. I mean, you drafted, I believe, Drummond wasn't on the team already, was he?
With Brandon Knight? I remember Greg. Man, now I don't even remember, to be honest with you.
It might have been Monroe, but, you get Chris Middleton in the second round. You get Brandon Knight. To me, it just felt like Dumars was rebuilding, but then you kind of rushed the rebuilding process by trading for Brandon Jennings. But at the time, Jennings was a guy that, didn't go to college, was balling out in Europe. I mean, he had like a 50 piece against Steph Curry when he was a rookie. So, I mean, I'm sure Joe Dumars was really excited for that trade. But if you look at it on paper, Pistons lost that trade because Brandon Jennings isn't in the NBA anymore. Chris Middleton is still in the NBA champion, one of the best second options in the NBA, if you ask me. I'd love to have Chris Middleton still on this team.
Man, I completely forget that Chris Middleton was in that trade too. Because I remember I remember just thinking at the time, all right, I don't really know much about Chris Middleton. At the time, didn't know much about him. it's whatever. But I loved Brandon Knight. I did like Brandon Jennings. I actually have that game where he had, I believe it was 55 points, and he broke Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's rookie record for most points in a game for the Milwaukee Bucks. I have that game like on just stored somewhere on one of my hard drives, and I loved Brandon Jennings. I just didn't like his inefficiency in his game for the Detroit Pistons. Like at the time, like I was not in on it, and I remember thinking, dude, if you want to go for a scoring guard, you could have just drafted. I remember just thinking I was so upset because they didn't sign like Marcus Thornton in the offseason. So I thought Marcus Thornton and Brandon Knight would be great ones. But yeah, I don't know. Back to these trades though, like man, I'm thinking about this Tobias Harris trade too, and I can't think of another one that's good or great or anything, But you're right. They're low key. There has been some trades that are very underrated in the Pistons' favors.
Yeah, I will say Van Gundy was a very good operator in terms of trades. I mean, outside of the Blake Griffin trade, I feel like he just threw second round picks away like they were candy. I mean, I remember the Jameer Nelson trade when he was like old and fat. I remember got James Ennis for a second round pick.
Yep.
We're trying to push for the playoffs. I remember we tried to get DeMontis Montejunis, but he failed his physical. And he blamed the Pistons for failing his physical. I mean, we could go down the rabbit hole with the Bol trade failing the physical. I mean, like honestly, like there's a lot of trades that like almost happened. Like I didn't know the Pistons almost traded. I know they almost traded for Kobe Bryant a few times.
Yeah, I remember that too. And they wanted to trade. I think Joe Dumars wanted Allen Iverson after the 01 season too, but he didn't want to give up. I forget who the player was. I don't know if it was Grant Hill. It might have been Jerry. No, I don't think he wanted to give up Jerry Stackhouse, but he really wanted to make a push for Allen Iverson in the early 2000s when he first became a GM, and he almost did it. He almost made the trade happen, but Joe Dumars has loved certain guys during his tenure where I'm like, I'm so glad those trades didn't go through or we would not have the championship. So, yeah, he wanted Rasheed Wallace, but I think the Portland Trailblazers wanted Chauncey and Ben Wallace at the time, and he was unwilling to part with those guys.
Yeah, I was reading an article that we almost traded Grant Hill for Kobe just straight up during a swap, which, I mean, that would have been really interesting. And then a few years later, because there was drama with like Kobe and the Lakers. I think they're in like the 07 season. They're going to trade Richard Hamilton and Tayshaun Prince for Kobe straight up. And I was listening to the Bun and Cardigan, shout out to them. Apparently there's a Kobe Bryant jersey out there because apparently the trade was really close. Someone has a Kobe Bryant jersey that's made right now, and it never got released.
Wow.
A Pistons jersey.
Wow.
Dude, that's so cool. I know I talked about Kobe a lot, but I mean, like he's one of my favorite players to watch that wasn't in a Detroit Pistons uniform.
Do you think he would have embraced Detroit though if he had made it here?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's one of those players that, it doesn't really matter where he's playing. As long as he's playing basketball, he's happy.
Yeah, but he was obsessed with being a Laker, though. Like, that was, like, his big thing when he was being drafted. Like, it was Lakers or Italy. Either I'm going to Los Angeles or I'm going to Italy. Like, that's it.
So, we do have another trade. I forgot about this one. Shout out to Ryan Boseman in the YouTube chat. Do you remember the Stuckey reputation for Rajon Rondo and Ray Allen?
Dude, I do I do remember this a little bit, like the rumors around it. Yes, that would have been something too. Holy crap! Would you have wanted that trade? You would have done it? Oh yeah,
hell yeah!
Oh my gosh, dude, Rondo and Ray Allen. Man, God, almost. We'd have a great team of almost trades happening. Holy crap! Holy crap! All right. Do you have a make or break season for Killian Hayes? I saw this topic. It was posted on Reddit. And I think it's a fair question. This isn't about whether you think Killian Hayes is good enough or not, but more of a question when you throw in the flag and give up on him.
So this would be his third season?
Yeah.
I'm going to give him 2 more years.
2 more years?
I just think it's really early in his career to give up on him. I know some fans had that 7th pick expectations, but I mean, he's going to have such an easy job playing off the bench and not starting next to Cade Cunningham and having guys off the bench like a Marvin Bagley and Hamidou Diallo, maybe even a Jalen Duren, who knows? I mean, I feel like he's going to have a career high in assists because he's going to have more players that can score the basketball. And if his summer workouts are any indication, his shot looks a lot quicker and a lot smoother. So I think him being on the bench is a perfect fit for him.
So, but this isn't your make or break. You're giving him 2 more years before you're like, all right, dude, I'm off the Killian train.
Yeah, but because players, not everyone's a Cade Cunningham. Not everyone comes into the league and just blows up. He was a very raw prospect, and I think you'll know what he is in like a 5-year window.
Yeah, someone posted on Reddit, I believe, that the only player that had similar stats at the same time was Lonzo Ball. Like, I think he was the only, like, in the same amount of games as Killian. Like, either they had similar stats or, like, Lonzo Ball's numbers, like, they might have been a little bit better. But that's, like, kind of what I guess they were alluding to. Like, that's kind of what you can expect with Killian Hayes is a blow up like Lonzo Ball. I don't know if I'm buying it, though, to be honest. But, go on, my bad.
It's hard because you don't really know what he's asked offensively from the coaching staff. Like, as fans, we see what we watch on TV, but we don't know how much responsibility like Coach Casey actually gives him. We don't know like how much of a free reign he actually has because certain players play certain roles. And maybe Coach Casey's just confident in him of standing in the corner and, running the second unit. I mean, he could go in an open gym and drop like freaking 40 in the Drew League. Like, we don't know. Like, we don't know what the responsibilities are, but I know some people are asking, like, what do we expect from him, like off the bench, like stats and all that stuff.
We'll get into that in a little bit, though.
Yeah, we'll get into it, but I mean,
I don't know. I'm not really looking for stats, though. It's just more of a question like, do you have like a break, like a make or break season for Killian Hayes? Because I feel like, I don't know, he's like the first Piston that I've ever been invested in it with this song. Like, when I remember watching Stanley Johnson, it was like year 2 for me with Stanley Johnson. I'm like, oh, this dude, he's not going to be anything more than he is right now. Like, it's just, I don't know why that clicked for me right then and there with him, but it did. Same way with Sekou.
mm-hmm.
Same way with like KCP, where I'm like, all right, this dude's not going to be what I expect, but he's still going to be solid. But for Killian, for some reason, he's probably going to be one of those players that even 10 years from now, I'm still going to be like rooting for him to make it, even though it's just like it's not possible. But it's just a guy that I don't want to fail. Like, I've been hard on him, but I don't want him to fail. So I don't really want there to be a break season for him. I want it there just to be a make season for him. But yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I would say in 2 years, if Killian Hayes hasn't improved like where I think he can be, then yeah, I would be out. I'd throw the flag in. But he's the one Piston that I'm just really holding out hope for over some of these other guys that were drafted really high.
Yeah, it's hard because, you look at guards in that draft that could score the basketball, that could facilitate and score. You look at guys like Tyrese Halliburton in Indiana. Obviously, that's who a lot of Pistons fans wanted. You could even make a case for Cole Anthony, who's in Orlando, who's a really good scoring point guard. RJ Hampton, who was kind of similar to Killian in the standpoint where he's, a project guard, but he hasn't really put anything together either. Denver gave up on him like that and traded him to Orlando for the Gordon trade. I mean, I don't think Troy's going to give up on him. I think Troy knew he would be a project. Now, how long that project takes, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but I think you'll have a good indication of what type of player he will be in a 5-year window. And I think, to me, he's a fringe guy that can come off the bench, give you some good minutes at the back point guard position, but that's it.
Has there ever been another Piston where you were just like really invested in that you didn't? Like, you were maybe one of the last people to see the writing on the wall that they weren't going to be very good?
It was probably Sekou.
Ooh, really? You were a big Sekou fan like that? I know you have the jersey, but
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was a big Sekou fan because I think a lot of people forget he was a projected top 5 pick. Like,
it's true.
People out of Europe were saying, this guy could be the next Pascal Siakam. And I think a lot of Pistons fans got really frustrated with Casey with Sekou, obviously, because you saw the flashes. I think one of his first games was against Kawhi and the Clippers, and I think he had like 9 or 10 points. There were definitely flashes there with him. It was just inconsistencies, and he didn't get the playing time. But he's in and out of the G League right now. He can't even get a roster spot.
He didn't have the motor, though, either. That was the first thing I noticed. Like, when I heard people comparing him to Giannis and Pascal, I'm watching him like, he doesn't have the same motor. He doesn't have the same energy. He doesn't play like they do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are so many plays where he would just give up on them. Like, I was high on Sekou the first year, and I was in that same school thought, like, just give him a few more minutes, let him play the 4, maybe even some small ball 5, put the ball in his hands, just like try to create some mismatches for him.
Mm-hmm.
But I gave up so quickly. He was probably the Piston that I gave up the quickest on. I think I had more faith in Darko than I had in Sekou going into year 2. And, I wanted to love Sekou, but I think part of it too was like Pistons fans were so in love with like the Pascal and Giannis comparison. It just pissed me off where I was like, I can't fall into this. Like, I don't want to fall into this.
Yeah, I want you to watch Sekou's debut, and then you'll see what I see. Because he played with a lot of energy, he was aggressive, and he ran the floor like crazy. And something changed. I don't know if it was a coaching problem. I don't know if his confidence went in the toilet. But something changed where he wasn't like that anymore, and I don't know what it was.
No, I remember those games where I remember like I don't know what game it was where it was during that stretch. Like, he was playing with a lot of energy defensively. Like, he seemed like he was buying into it all. And you're right, something did change, but I just think he might have been one of those kids that got too much too early, and that might have played into it. Like, I could just imagine if it was me in his spots. Like, dude, look, I was the 15th pick. I deserve to be playing. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to prove to any of you I was the 15th pick. Like, I kind of, again, I don't know Sekou and I don't know anybody close enough to him, but that's almost like the vibe he gave off when I was watching him. Especially that moment where he was pouting like 12 feet off the bench, like taking his sneakers off when there's like 2 minutes left in the game, and he's sitting away from the entire team. There was that game during it wasn't the bubble season, but it was where they were locking fans out.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those games, and I don't know. I was just done with Sekou after all that.
Yeah, it's probably frustrating. You get playing time, you get sent onto the G League, you dominate the G League, and you can't even get garbage time. So I think that was his frustration, that he couldn't really get any playing time. So I could kind of see it from that standpoint. And fans do blame Casey for his development.
They shouldn't. They do, because look at everybody else that has developed under Casey.
Yeah.
Going back before his time in Detroit. Like, this guy was taking undrafted players and turning them into all-stars. Fred VanVleet. That's true. All right, so each week we're going to pick a Detroit Piston and predict their season averages. This week we have Cory Joseph and Killian Hayes. I'm going to let you start this off with Cory Joseph, though, man. What do you think his stats are going to be for the season?
0. I don't think he plays.
Oh, get the hell out of here. Do you know he plays?
No, I don't think he plays.
Really? Oh, okay. You're being serious. Okay, my bad. That was kind of a joke.
I think he's going to have a Haslam type of role, honestly.
Wow, that's interesting. I figured Ronnie Magruder would get that over Cory Joseph.
I don't know.
Special treatment.
Rodney McBuckets was, ever since he got retraded to the Nuggets trade, bro. He was a bucket.
I love Rodney Magruder, dude.
Dude, like low key, like Rodney Magruder could get buckets. Yeah, I just don't think Cory Joseph plays that much. I mean, unless Killian's like really sucking, I think he plays very little. I think he's just going to be there for teaching moments, honestly.
Man, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and say Cory Joseph averages 8 points. I'll say 3 assists and like 1 rebound.
Okay.
I'll say those are stats for Cory Joseph. I don't think he gets a ton of minutes. I think he's going to get a majority of his minutes at the beginning of the season, and then you'll start to see him fade more to the background. But I still think there's a need for Cory Joseph on this team. I can see him playing in lineups with Cade, Jaden Ivey, and Killian Hayes, or even Alec Burke. I mean, it really depends on like what you're saying, like what Killian Hayes. I mean, obviously, if Killian Hayes comes out and just takes over the NBA and really claims that second guard spot off the bench, but I don't know. We'll see with Killian Hayes. But what about Killian's average season averages this year?
I think you're looking at 10, 4, and 5.
Dude, my stat line was 9, 4, and 4 for Killian Hayes with almost 2 steals a game.
Yeah, I think he could even get 6 assists for that matter. I just think that backup spot is going to be his. I don't even think Casey even thinks about putting him in the starting lineup. I think Jaden Ivey's going to be your shooting guard opening day, and I don't think it's going to change. I think Jaden Ivey and Cade are going to be your backcourt of the future, and I think Killian is going to be that backup point guard that really orchestrates the second unit.
I like that role for him, though. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to fans, though, that like disrespect Killian Hayes passing? Have you seen this from anybody?
I see more of the disrespect of they'll look at the box score and they're like, bro shot 2 times. Like, what a bust. Like I see that, but like I haven't really seen anyone disrespect his passing. Like him and Cade low-key have some good dimes.
Yeah, I was on Reddit and this was earlier in the week, and someone had posted like how when he passes the ball, he doesn't create advantages for anybody. And I'm like, dude, I can't get into this. Like, I don't even know what do you mean? Like, does every pass have to be created? Does it have to create something for somebody? You know what I'm saying? Like, There's such a thing as like a hockey assist where you see something, but you get the ball to to a player to make the pass that's in a better position. That's still seen. Like, even though he doesn't directly create the advantage, he could still be seen in putting someone else in a different position to get that ball to someone else. Like, there's so much, man.
Yeah, like I said, I think he's going to have a career high assist with all the guys that he's going to have on the bench. Like Bagley alone, he should have 1 to 2 assists a night for a lob.
You know what? I'm hoping Killian Hayes averages like 3 points, but 8 assists and like 6 rebounds. Just does something weird like that.
Like, honestly, like I wouldn't be mad at him, like just being a guy that just throws lobs to like guys that are rim runners and lob threats. Like, yeah, shoot a 3 occasionally. Yeah, take it to the basket. Like, I don't need you to average 20 points, Like,
no, it'd be fun to see him average 10, though.
If you give me 10 points a night, I'm happy.
I agree. If he can get into double digits with his passing and defense, he's a solid player, and all this bust talk goes away. Well, we'll see with Killian. We'll see. You ready for the Q&A?
Sure. Let's see if
you don't got to go to the bathroom yet.
No, not yet. Let's see if there is any questions. Shout out to Bravo. I feel like Bravo just pops in for the Q&A.
Appreciate it.
Hi, guys. I'm curious, why are so many Pistons fans root and talk for the Detroit Lions?
I think, like many of us, we come from households where we grew up watching the Lions, and for some reason, watching them has become a Sunday tradition. So that's probably it,
Why do Lions fans root for the Pistons? Because they're bored. I don't know. I feel like Lions fans are way more loyal than Pistons fans in a sense, where Lions went 0-16 and that place was still packed.
Yeah, football is like, I work as a play-by-play for high school football, but sometimes football can be kind of a boring game because like you're just sitting around waiting for a big play. Like you have so many drives that are just 3 and outs, 3 and outs, 3 and outs, 3 and outs, and you're just like sitting in your seat, you're like half asleep. Next thing you know, someone just throws like an 80-yard bomb, and you're like, oh, that's what I've been waiting for, and then that's the game. Like basketball, there's always something going on. In football, it's just so many. There's so much like dead time, I feel like, in the game.
Yeah. It's just, I've never really understood why Ford Field's packed every weekend and LCA is like not even to 60% capacity some nights.
Yeah, I don't know why that is either. Like, I feel like a lot of football fans a lot of Lions fans aren't necessarily from Detroit. They might be like, they could be from other places where maybe, football is popular. So for them to, and I don't know, man, maybe they're just, I don't think they're all from Detroit though. I don't know where I was trying to go with that.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think if you're from Detroit, honestly, though, you kind of rep all your teams except the Tigers.
Yeah, that's true too. Like there
They're
is
just a dumpster fire. They're gonna have to rebuild again. Like I feel so bad.
yeah, it is kind of weird though. Like I mean, there is a real loyalty from fans that come for with the Lions and the Red Wings. Those are two really loyal fan bases. Says a
So
lot about Detroit.
what's weird is obviously the Red Wings and the Pistons share an arena. Really good question, Bravo. You got us talking about it. Red Wings were like top 10 in attendance for hockey, and Pistons were like dead last. And they share the same arena.
That's
Like,
crazy.
well, Red Wings have won multiple championships too. I
Yeah,
mean, the
and they
Pistons
were
have won 3, but Red Wings have over 11. So
yeah,
it's
they
like,
what was it, 25 years in a row they made the playoffs too or
mm-hmm.
something? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like going to hockey games.
Yeah, they were
Atmosphere's
literally
great.
like the San Antonio Spurs of the NBA or the NHL. I mean, always in the playoffs.
Damn. I gotta really pay attention more attention to Red Wings. The other thing too about like Detroit sports fans, like I feel like Red Wings fans don't like the Pistons. Like I feel like if you're a fan of the Red Wings or the Lions, majority of my interactions have been like, well, I hate the Pistons. I don't understand that because there's a lot of Pistons fans that I know that love the Detroit Lions and the Red Wings. But
Yeah.
guys that are like diehard Red Wings, diehard Lions fans, for some reason don't bring that fandom over to the Detroit Pistons. I don't understand that.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I feel like football and basketball fans, they kind of like they can, coexist, but hockey fans are a little different. Not to say they're snobs or anything like that, but I just feel like they don't like basketball because they think it's a weak sport because hockey's more, physical fighting on ice skates, stuff like that. I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, I played hockey and basketball, and I will tell you, I've had more injuries playing basketball than I did hockey.
Dude, there's a reason men's hockey leagues, these guys are playing into their 60s. How tough can the sport be when you have guys playing into their 60s in men's leagues on the weekends and you don't have that in basketball? You're not seeing too many 60-year-olds going out there and shooting hoops, playing 5-on-5 full court. But for some reason in men's hockey, you have guys in their 60s out there skating, checking young dudes. I don't get it. Like if it's such a tough sport and it's so physically demanding on your body, yet you can play it well into your 60s. I don't know. Something's off. Something's a little off right there. Doesn't seem like that tough of a sport. But that's the other reason hockey fans hate basketball fans because of what I just said. You know, I mean,
yeah.
I don't.
I don't know. It's weird. I don't understand why we just can't all get along.
And you know what's weird? Like hockey and basketball, they're kind of similar, right? With like the spacing and how you play and
fast pace too.
Yeah, there's always something going on.
This is a good question from Downtown Deuce. How many years until LCA is packed every night?
Ooh, I would say this up. If I'm judging it based on like social media, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, I feel like it's going to be packed this entire season. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many people talking about getting tickets and going to games. So maybe this is the start of it.
I think for the first 10 games, it'll be packed, and then it's just going to die out. It's going to fizzle out. I think where you have consistent numbers where it's packed out every night and it's like impossible to get a ticket, I would put a timeline on it for another year or two. I think if you give Troy Weaver another draft, another free agency where he's going to have a crap load of money, where, you have Cade and Sadiq and Killian in year 4, you got Cade in year 3, you got Jaden Ivey and Jalen Durden year 2. This team's really going to gel, and they're going to start winning games. They're actually going to start, competing to get out of the first round. So I think once we have that playoff success, you're going to start seeing LCA packed out every night, and I'm sure it's going to be crazy.
And dude, if you're going to games, bring some energy, man. Like root for the team. Throw your hands up. Like I do this every time. I put 3 fingers up every time. I do with my right hand when a right-handed shooter's doing it. Every time Killian Hayes, I do 3 with the left hand. Like, man, be there, be excited. Just, enjoy the game too. Enjoy the atmosphere and just bring the energy, man, when you go to games. Like, because sometimes those games can be so dead, even when the Pistons are playing well. It almost seems like sometimes people just go there just to say they went to a Pistons game instead of actively rooting for the team and being part of the atmosphere and bringing that energy.
Yeah, a lot of people have comments about like LCA and why the Red Wings don't like it. And Sue has a really good point. A lot of Red Wing fans didn't want to share the arena with the Pistons. And that's absolutely true.
Yeah, but why? Like, why does that create like animosity between the two fan bases?
I think the way the Red Wings fans look at it is they were at the Joe Louis Arena for a long time. And they were really hyped about LCA when they first broke ground. And not even like 6 months before LCA was about to get finished, Tom Gores wanted to be in Detroit, but like didn't want to really spend the big money to get another arena. And he's kind of just, it's kind of like you do the group project, and then here comes Tom Gores with his name at the end and putting his name on it, and you both get an A. Like, I could understand it from Red Wings fans, like, hey, this is our arena. We're going to have all the playoff success. You guys are just sharing it with us. But, the Boston Celtics share it with the Boston Bruins. Like, if you go look at a lot of teams, the Lakers share their arena
the Clippers,
with the Los Angeles Kings and the Clippers. Like, it's very common. And I don't know. I think Detroit's very unique because a lot of our arenas have all been separately owned and they haven't really been shared. And I think that's probably why there's animosity towards each other.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I completely forgot that. I've been to the Joe Louis Arena plenty of times. I completely forgot that the Red Wings had that separately. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I guess that. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's not really a reason to hate another team, though. Like, they're in your building, root for them. Don't be mad. Don't be pissed off because someone's going to go watch a basketball game at your arena. I'm throwing up air quotes, too, when I say your arena. It's just hard for you to see my fingers. But it's, yeah, I don't know. I guess that makes sense to a degree. You want it to be your own space. But, dude, it's not like that both teams are playing at the same time.
Yeah, it's. Like I said, I think it's cool to have the Pistons in Detroit. Love the Palace. Didn't like driving there.
I hated going to the Palace. I'm not going to lie. I loved it. Hated driving to it. Didn't think it was that unique and that special. Joe Louis, that really stood out to me as an arena, like as a place to go. That was an awesome experience in itself. LCA though, I mean, I love that they're in Detroit, dude. I love driving into – we've talked about this before. Like, I love driving into the city of Detroit and, like, seeing the skyline and everything. It's really cool to see it. And I love that it gets to be downtown, man. Like, going to LCA for a Pistons game or a Red Wings game is truly an experience. We both should enjoy it as fans.
Yeah, for sure. We want Lance screaming at games. They want more than the fingers up at their game. They want you screaming.
They want me screaming at the games? Okay. Dude, I don't know why, though. Like, when I'm at the games, like, I feel like everybody can hear me because of my – obviously, they can't. But, like, my voice is pretty loud and it does have, like, a booming effect sometimes.
Yeah.
And when I'm trying to be quiet, I'm like, yeah, go homie. I'm just like – I feel like I'm yelling too loud and like ruining because I sat in a section where they were kind of boring. Like nobody really stood up or did anything. So I felt like I was being almost a nuisance to them. So I would do just like a little bit of something,
Yeah, for sure.
So
Bravo's got another good question, which I feel like we'll probably talk about all year. Name a player on the current Pistons roster who possibly gets traded by the deadline. I think Killian is one of them. I also see Saban, Lee, and Diallo too.
Name players on the current Pistons roster who possibly get traded by it. I would say Kelly Olynyk, Corey Joseph. I think he's a guy that could be traded at the deadline. Kevin Knox feels like he could be traded just being as a throw-in at the trade deadline. Man, I kind of got to look on the roster for some other big man. I don't know. Like outside of the like Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq, Jalen Duran, Cade, I feel like anybody could be traded at the trade deadline.
I'm thinking of a player, and I might get some flack for it.
Don't say Isaiah Livers.
No, not Isaiah
Oh,
Livers. No. His contract's too cheap. No one's touching that shit. You're good. Marvin Bagley.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think he's got a unique contract when you look at it, where he's not making the most money, but he's not making a ton of money, where you could throw a Marvin Bagley salary and maybe another like 5 to 10 mil, and then you're kind of looking at like a $20 million roster spot where maybe you package a Marvin Bagley and let's say I don't know, a Hamidou Diallo, and you get a player that you feel can really contribute. I'm not saying we're going to trade Marvin Bagley, but you kind of have to look at like the Kelly Olynyk's and the Marvin Bagleys, because you need some of those like in the middle contracts to kind of trade for bigger players.
Yeah, that's an interesting name though, Marvin Bagley. Like I love his role though, man. I love where
Yeah.
he's positioned on the team because, like, again, I'm not in the school of thought that he's going to be a starter, but I think he's going to be one hell of a player off the bench. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, dude, last year 14-7 in 18 games for Detroit, and half of them were off the bench. Like, I love that role for him, so I don't want to see him traded. But yeah, I could see him thrown in a package and bringing someone else back, especially if like he continues that play where like he's playing with like better efficiency, where he's playing closer to the hoop and he's not just stuck in a corner jacking up threes. Yeah, I could see that. That's a great name drop right there.
Yeah, I don't think he gets traded, but I think when you kind of look at like the bigger picture, and if you want the Pistons to get more help for Cade, obviously like we like Cade, we like Jaden Ivey, but I mean it's really hard to win in this league with a bunch of kids, and you kind of need a guy in between like that, 26 to 30 range where they know how to win basketball games and they know how to lead. And I think when you kind of look at those contracts like an Olynyk and a Bagley, they're valuable because you can always be in trades because teams want contracts that are just in that middle range.
100%. 100%. Man, that's a great name drop. I can't even think of anybody else that could be traded at the trade deadline. I hope it's not Marvin Bagley, though. I hope he just didn't do something in the universe right there with that.
That's a good question, and then we can kind of wrap it up. Who's your starting five by the end of the season?
Cade, Jaden Ivey in the backcourt, Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Livers, and Isaiah Stewart. I've said Duran at starting before, but I don't know. I think he's going to come. I think he's going to get a few starts, but I don't know. I think we're going to see a lot of Isaiah Livers in the starting lineup this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Cade, Ivy, Sadiq, obviously, because he can play 3 or 4. The 4's tough. I think it's going to be Marvin Bagley and Jalen Duren.
Ooh, you think Isaiah Stewart's not in the starting lineup towards the end of the season?
If he doesn't develop in the way the Pistons want, where maybe the dribble handoffs just aren't to Casey's liking, and I feel like Jalen Duren kind of has an advantage already, where low key in the summer league he was making some really nice passes, like he was making some backdoor cuts. Defensively he can get up a little bit higher than Isaiah Stewart. He's a really good rim runner. He's got like that 15-foot shot that he's already working on. Not to say I don't like Isaiah Stewart, but I think there's a lot there with Jalen Duren to really be excited about. I think a combo between, a Bagley and a Duren, I mean, that's interesting.
It is, but man, I kind of want the defense, though, in the front court. Like, if I'm not getting Isaiah Livers at the 4, I'll take Duren, but as long as Isaiah Stewart's still there. Like, I'd rather have guys that are animals defensively and then keep Marvin Bagley coming off the bench as that offensive threat. I like that 3-headed combo in that order versus starting Marvin Bagley. Because, I mean, like, I know that Isaiah Stewart plays with a ton of energy, and I think he would be a decent role player off the bench. But I feel like if he can harness that and then contribute with the three-point shooting, the dribble handoffs, like that energy will be much better served as a starter than off the bench. Like, he's very much going to need guys to create things for him. So,
yeah. It's just like, because I'm trying to think, like, this question, obviously you could think about it as, just like a casual approach, but what if the Pistons are really close to that play-in tournament. What if they're sitting around 11th, 12th place? Who you playing then?
I don't know, man. I think I know we're not talking about it a lot, but like, I kind of feel like Isaiah Livers might be the starting four for this season.
I already told you that's my starting lineup opening day. Like I said it here first. I told you my starting five was going to be Cade, Jaden Ivey, Isaiah Livers, Sadiq Bey, and Isaiah Stewart. Yeah. I think that will be the starting lineup opening day. I think it's really versatile. I think you could interchange Sadiq and Isaiah Livers with whatever you want. I think Jaden Ivey gives you certain explosion of athleticism. Cade gives you a guy that's always under control, very cerebral. Isaiah Stewart gives you, defense, effort. I just love that lineup opening day. And I think Casey may be thinking the same as I am.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a great lineup. The only thing that lineup is missing, and we do have Jaden Ivey, but like we need a little bit more athleticism. So, yeah, man, like it would be nice to see like a polished version of Duren with those guys. Because I just feel like everything Isaiah Livers does contributes to winning, even if he's not putting up big numbers, which I don't expect. But like it's the extra passing, it's the communication, it's being another ball handler, another guy that can set people up. Like there's just so much to love about his game that I think that you have to find a way to put him in the starting lineup because of all that extra stuff he brings. Like his style of play contributes to winning in so many ways. Like, I think he's going to be in the starting lineup, man. And I think that's the lineup that really pushes them kind of over that hump this year where they're more focused on the play-in or the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give a shout to Jack Kelly of the Detroit Bad Boys. He's been killing it with those graphics. I don't know if you've seen him.
I have, yeah. He's awesome.
He had a really interesting graphic of, like let's say Cade averages, 24, 6, and 7. But the Pistons don't make a play-in, or, he averages 26 and 7 and he's an all-star. I think that's really interesting too, of when you kind of look at each player on this team and like their barometer of like what you really want them to accomplish. I don't know, like, would you want Cade to average more points, but us making a play-in tournament, or would you rather him average less and make an all-star game?
I mean, is the team still successful? So was it he's averaging 26 and 7, makes the all-star game, but then the Pistons finishing like the 8th seed? Is that what he was saying?
I think a play-in tournament. So like a 10 seed.
Or have another, and I think the other part of it was he averages 24, but you get a shot at Victor Wembanyama. I think that's what I kind of feel like this. If the Pistons didn't get Ivy and Duren, I'd go for option A, like the 24, 6 and 7, whatever it was for the shot at a top 5 pick, or they end up in the top 2. If they didn't get Duren and Ivy, I would go for that, but I would rather see Cade average less, get an all-star game, and be in a play-in tournament than, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm high on Victor Wembanyama, but like, I don't know. I kind of feel like this team is almost complete, like with their core guys. They just need to fill the outside with some decent role players and three-point shooting. This team will be fine. So, yeah, I think I would go option B.
Yeah.
For this year.
I mean, I thought that was really interesting that, like, you kind of look at those two paths, and obviously I would probably take a chance at Victor because this draft class, holy crap.
Yeah, it's a good one, man. It's really
there's some players in here where I'm looking at it and I'm like, I know Pistons fans don't want to hear this, but like if you kind of stay in that top 10, you're getting a player that can contribute right away. Like, I'm a sicko, and I kind of I study up on these players way before a lot of people do, but I mean, like,
oh yeah, I remember you were high on Ivy, man. You were high on Ivy for a long time.
Scoot Henderson. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yep.
Watch out for him, bro. That kid's gonna be a star.
Yeah, and there was a picture of him that they post. I forget who posted it a few days ago. Dude, the kid looks like he already has an NBA body. Yeah, like he's been in, like, not just shooting, he's been in the gym lifting, man.
Yeah,
that kid looks ready, man. No, it's like I've said this before, and I believe I said it on this podcast. Like if the Pistons start off strong, they're going to make a real push for the play-in. But if they like struggle out the gate and at the like around the All-Star break where it's like, we don't know about this team, I feel like they're going to go all in on the tank and try to get a top 5 pick. Like I feel like those are the two paths for the teams. You start out hot, you really look like something that you make a push for the playoffs, play-in, whatever. But if you're like come out the gate weak, like not just talking 10 games, but like they struggle maybe with like the first 20, I think you'll see the Pistons try to make a push for the top 5 pick and really try to go into tank mode.
Oh, for sure, man. Like I think that's something where I'm hoping they make a play-in because I think a lot of fans want to see them be successful, and so do I. I don't want to see them win 23 games again. It's miserable. I want to see progress. But like I said, hey, if it's 20 games left and you know you're not making the play-in, you know what to do.
Exactly. Play Corey Joseph. For sure, man. For sure. That's all you got to do to tank.
Downtown Deuce, thank you. I did call Ivy last year.
Oh, yeah. Do I remember you were tweeting about him? Like, I think it was like game 1 of the college season. You're like, this is the Pistons guy. You called it, man. You called it, dude. I got on the train after you had tweeted that out. Like, I had watched Ivy, but I wasn't buying the Ja Morant hype. But I was like, man, I see Pistons talk, tweeting about this guy. I got to watch some more Purdue games. And, yeah, dude, you were right. You called him, man.
It's funny. I had a buddy that was reffing one of his AAU games, and he texted me like 2 years, but like before he like went to Purdue. He's like, bro, Jaden Ivey, be on the lookout. So I got curious, man. I was like, oh man, that's crazy. It's funny. A lot of the people like I know on Instagram, they'll like DM me like players like, dude, you got to watch out for this guy. Like, go watch this guy. Like, watch Evan Mobley. Like, he might be a player the Pistons might go for.
That's crazy. It's weird how like this whole thing with basketball, like you get these guys at such a young age and they are being like groomed and prepped and prepared for the NBA at like 9 or 10 years old. Like, they got these lists out and you're just watching these kids. It's just basketball is such a unique sport, man. It's just so much fun. Like you can really be like one of these guys that recruits and scouts when they're like 13 or 14 years old and make predictions, dude. It's unreal.
It really is, man. Like, I just, like I said, I remember I really wanted Donovan Mitchell during the Luke Kennard draft. And people are like, dude, no one out of Louisville is good. Like, I don't know why you would want him. Like, why? And I'm like, dude, like, I don't get it. Like, he's a defensive guard that's bounce. Like, he would be awesome next to Reggie Jackson. Like, you guys are tripping. But, hey, maybe people will start listening to me now.
I hope they do. Like, I really do. You're an Nostradamus of this stuff, man. It's unbelievable what you call.
It's funny because my great-grandfather actually used to be a scout for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
That's pretty cool.
So I guess it's in the blood.
Yeah.
I know talent when I see it.
Oh, my gosh, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy, man.
Oh,
all right.
man.
I think that's a great place to end the podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Do me a favor. Follow me on Twitter @LanceCaprosi. If you don't know where to find Anthony, I don't know what's going on. You're living under a rock. You can follow him on all social media platforms @Pistons Talk. Then go over to either Spotify, Apple, Google, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe to the Pistons Talk podcast. Leave a comment, drop a rating. But more importantly, tell a Pistons fan.
Peace.